Hi guys, we're so glad to have you here. This is Weber and this is Neil. We both work at Upgrad. I am the program manager for the Upgrad digital marketing program. So I handle all aspect of how this digital marketing program is being developed and how useful is it for the final participants of this program. Neil works on all the growth marketing activities at Upgrad, and he also handles marketing activities for Upgrad digital marketing programs and a couple of other programs. So Neil has over 4 to 5 years of experience in digital marketing. So he has previously worked with Socrates, which is one of the leading agencies in India. So he has an experience both on the brand side and on the agency side. And one of the key benefits in working in the industry is that he has worked with brands all across different sectors. So he has an idea how marketing in some FMCG business would differ from, let's say, marketing in an IT business. So yeah, so the purpose of this info session would be to basically guide you through what are the different challenges that an entrepreneur faces when he has to set up his digital marketing, and then we would touch upon how Upgrad digital marketing program can also help you get a better sense of how to go about marketing your business. And then we would have a short Q&A session in case you have any questions about how you can do your marketing for your own business. And if you have any questions around Upgrad digital marketing program, that would be a great time to have that. So first of all, we'll just start with a role playing of sort, where I would be an entrepreneur facing some challenges when it comes to marketing my business, and Neil here would be sort of like a consultant, where he would suggest what am I doing wrong and how can I improve upon that. So having said that, so Neil, so the business that I'm going to take for the purpose of this conversation is, I'll assume that I'm doing a business very close to Raw Pressery. So you might have heard about Raw Pressery. So what essentially Raw Pressery does is that they manufacture healthy juice bottles, and they offer subscription for those juice bottles. So you can basically go for a monthly subscription of those juice bottles. So every day a juice bottle would come to your home directly, and it would be fresh, and you can subscribe for it. So let's say if you have to buy one juice bottle, so that would cost you around 100 rupees. Whereas if you buy, let's say, a monthly subscription, it would cost you 2,500. So that's how we incentivize the customers to go for a monthly subscription and not just buy a single bottle. Right. And how we benefit out of it is that we're assured that 30 of our bottles are going to sell, even though they are at a slightly lower price. Okay. So I mean, for us, the key business model for us to take it forward, for us to sell maximum number of bottles, is really to get more and more people to subscribe, so that they're drinking our juices daily. So right now, we have just laid down the business. We have just identified what are the kind of flavors that customers typically like. We have created our juice bottle, our packaging, and all of that stuff. But right now, the biggest challenge for us is how do we actually take this juice bottle to the market? Right. How do we actually get all these customers who would take our monthly subscription? So that's where we are currently struggling with. Okay. And also, I mean, because I happen to be from a finance background, so I'd worked in financial services for 4 to 5 years. Okay. So I really do not know much about digital marketing. So I mean, it's pretty new to me, all of it. Right. So I mean, if you were to just in a nutshell describe how should I approach my marketing, what would be your initial thoughts on that? And then maybe I can ask you some problems that I'm currently facing. Yeah.
Cool. So I think first of all, thanks a lot for explaining the business model a bit. I think when it comes to actually defining a digital marketing strategy, the first step, so what I normally do is that I break it into these 5 to 6 components, right? Okay. So I think the first step is something that you already spoke a little about, is the business model. Yeah. Right. So a few things which I want to know a little more in detail here is, number one, so you said that these juices come around 100 rupees odd, right? Yeah. So first of all, the way I look at it, in India, probably in tier 1 cities, you would have a greater audience, because you would need some expendable income, because they are a little on the higher side in terms of price.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Right. So I mean, in terms of juices, people typically like to buy, let's say, a whole carton of juice which cost around 100 rupees. And exactly. The one that we're offering is like somebody can just take a shot of these juices, and they are pretty small bottles. Right. But the value advantage is that these juices are much more healthier than what you get in cartons.
So it's like proper healthy drinks.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, I feel that tier 1 customers would be more in need of such juices, and people with higher spending capacity would go for it.
Interesting. So, and I also think that like when it comes to like marketing to the masses, right? You would not just be looking at people buying for the first time, because I think like you can also buy once, right?
Yeah.
And initially, I think if you market to a customer base, they will probably want to try it out first, right? But I think your actual dollar customers would be the ones who are your repeat customers, right? Subscribers. Yes. So I think. Yeah, so I think guys, if you're all like, listening on to this, like we are talking about the Raw Pressery business model. The Raw Pressery company is basically, they sell online, they sell juices online, and these are like very healthy juices that are coming at around 100 rupees a bottle. So I was just talking to Vaibhav about the fact that, subscribers are the golden like goal for them, and not just like, like ensuring that people buy it for the first or the second time. Right, so that's a little about the business model. So after the business model, what necessarily comes to my mind is like the audience, right? And we spoke a little about the audience. So I want to like dig a little deep into the audience now. So I think and as I think about the audience, guys, also what in my mind parallelly is going is that how can I map this audience to what exists as targeting options on different digital channels. So listen closely, right? So one aspect is, I think, as I mentioned, the cities, right? So tier one cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi would be a definite plus, right?
Absolutely.
I think if you also look at age, right? Like people who are say less than 25 would be an issue because they might not be in jobs or like might not have that expendable income, right? So people, I think, between 25 to 35. Also, definitely people who are health conscious, right? At the first go, because as you know, like especially in like channels like Facebook and all, right, you can actually target people who are health conscious, right? Right. Yeah.
How do you do that?
So basically, so I'll talk about that in detail, but like in push marketing channels like Facebook, right, you can actually target people who have liked pages that are, like health conscious, like or healthy drinks, etc., right? Or healthy food, as a matter of fact, right? Or people who are looking at exercises, right? Because you know that they're healthy and they want to probably like subscribe to something like this, right?
Interesting.
So even on other channels like Google Display, you can do stuff like this, right? So I'll get on that in detail. But in terms of say gender, right, I don't think there's much of a difference here.
No,
like I think both males and females would.
Let me just delve deep into what we feel is our core customers. So I mean, as you rightly mentioned, these would be people who are residing in the major metropolitan cities. This would be Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore.
Right.
And then what we consider our target segment is people who firstly have expendable incomes to buy these juices, and secondly, they wouldn't necessarily want to produce juices at their homes. So basically, families we typically rule out because they can produce their own juices. So I mean, essentially, these would be people with like 25 to 35 years of age, who are fairly young, fairly health conscious, and they don't mind spending extra money.
Got it.
In order
but
to get
who don't really have that kind of time to probably make.
They don't have much, right? Exactly.
Great. Okay. So I think what you guys kind of saw here right now was a kind of a persona analysis, right? So I'm sure a lot of you probably have already done this on and off when you're making your business model, etc. This exercise might seem a little basic right now, but as we go down the steps, right, you'll realize how this TG persona mapping is very important. So the next step here would be to focus on the business goals, right? So like I tell this to any entrepreneur, right, and I'll be telling this to you upfront, right? When it comes to business goals, we have to be very clear about what we want from our marketing efforts, right? Because on one side, you would probably come and tell me, Neil, I want everyone to know about Raw Pressery, right? I would want like, it to be like in Mumbai, etc. All these places, people should know, Raw Pressery exists, right? So that's like more of an awareness or top of the funnel kind of the campaign that we'll have to make, right? So that is on one side. Now, you might not necessarily get a lot of revenue from there. Right, but you would probably be investing a little in that campaign, right?
Makes sense.
So I'll get into that in detail. And the other type of campaign would be more around your revenues, right? Like like I want to like target people who are healthy and etc. Stuff like that. But I want to make sure that for every rupee I'm spending, I'm getting something in return. Right. So we need to make it very clear that what is our business goal, right? Is it awareness, branding, etc., more top of the funnel, or is it more towards first time acquisition and more importantly repeat acquisitions, right? Because what tends to happen is that most entrepreneurs and as well as people who are say doing digital campaigns right now, but in the basic nascent stage, they think that okay, one campaign to rule them all, right?
Yeah.
But honestly speaking, it makes a lot more sense to strategize and segment your efforts into multiple campaigns so that you can also apportion your budgets. If I have like say 5,000 to spend every day, I'll make sure that okay, I spend around a few thousand on awareness branding and I spend the rest on my first time user acquisition. So this is a bit around the business goal.
Yeah,
right?
so in terms of business goal, as I mentioned, our business goal is to get more and more number of subscriptions, monthly subscriptions.
Right.
So I mean, selling just one or two juice bottles necessarily does not result in a lot of revenue. So we would want to have more and more customers buy the entire subscription. Now the problem that we're facing right now is that people are very new to this concept of having healthy juice bottles delivered to their home.
Right.
So how do I make them aware that this kind of service exists and that they would how do I create a need in the market before they can actually start buying the subscription?
Right.
Because I don't want to just give out free bottles for people to use, because that would be very costly for me.
Right. No, so I think what we can do is that that's like an all freemium model, right? What I would rather suggest is that, like you said, that there needs to be a need created, right? So I think what you can do is that on one side you have certain campaigns which focus on the branding aspect of it, right? Where you have certain communication which focuses on hey, be healthy. Right, choose raw pressery, like something which is very bold and smart on the top, right? Whereas on the other hand, you could have to people who have already say come to your site or already because there's a concept of cookies, right? The moment people come to your site, right, the cookies are captured. So what happens is that once they come to your site, you can actually target them again, or say people who have say come to your site and bought just once, you can target them again. So I'll talk about this feature a little later. But what is most important is to define the business goals. So I think we are on the same page when it comes to that, right? Cool. So this is the third step. Now after this, the business goal definition actually translates to the marketing mix.
Okay.
Right. So I'll tell you what the marketing mix is. Now, say for example, so before anything, I would want to ask from you, like what would be your quarterly budget? Because see, at the end of the day, it's all about how much you can spend.
Yeah. So essentially, when we started off, we were of the view that we would just spend a little money on marketing, get customers, invest it again in the business, and then get more customers. So we did not haven't earmarked a very huge budget for marketing. But now that we know that it does not really work that way, that you spend a penny into marketing, you get 2 customers, you reinvest that penny again.
It's sort of linear.
So so we have around like 3 to 5 lakhs of budget that we can spend
in the first quarter.
In the first quarter. So,
okay, cool. Okay, so the way I would like to think about this is more like an investment, where you say that okay, say you have 3 lakhs in the first quarter. What I would do is that like one aspect of thinking about it is how do we break it into channels, right?
Okay.
Now one thing you need to understand is that initially, except businesses which are say in very mature segments, like I'll give you an example. Say if it's e-commerce, and when I say e-commerce, I mean let's talk about say apparels or anything like electronics, right? Now we know that it's a very mature market, in terms of the fact that people are, in terms of the fact that So I think sorry. I think guys, so I think we just got an update that there's a lot of questions that are being asked right now. So quick thing, guys. Sorry to interrupt, but quick thing. We will be having a proper, Q&A session towards the the end of this, right? So just like housekeeping rule on that, we'll be having like a Q&A session at the end of it. So please wait for your questions till then. Anything else, Vaibhav?
No, that's it.
Okay.
So continue.
Yeah.
So once we by now we have defined who our customers are. What are our marketing objectives? So what next?
Okay. So I think what next is the channel planning, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to the channel planning, what I think is what is most important is you need to understand how do you divide it between your pull and push channels, right?
Okay.
So like if you go to any digital market out there, what they'll normally come and tell you is that okay, Facebook mein karna chahiye ya phir Google mein karna chahiye. Right. So they never think in terms of pull and push. And I'll tell you what I'll tell you. So see, like say imagine you are on Facebook right now and you're just scrolling through your Facebook feed and suddenly you get a raw pressery ad, for example, right? You might have never gone to raw pressery, right? But they are say targeting you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's essentially they're pushing the message onto you. So it's more of push marketing. Versus,
and many a time I might not even be interested in
you might not be interested, right? You might not click on it.
And obviously, you would end up wasting money.
Well, if you are working on a cost per click model, then no. If they are working on a model which every click will incur a cost, then you will probably spend money. So I'll talk about that.
There is a lot I need to know.
There is a lot, right? So that is say the push marketing part. Now, if you say search for healthy drinks or healthy alternatives to, I don't know, Tropicana or real juices, right? That is on Google search. When you are searching for that, and mind you guys, like thousands of people across India might be searching for that right now, right? So when you're searching for that, it means that you as a user are already, in that zone that, I need that health drink right now. So imagine a raw pressery ad coming and landing on the top of your screen on Google search.
That I'm a lot more likely
you would want to click on it because you're looking for it. So it's high intent, as we call it. And that's why it's called more of pull marketing.
Okay. So I should be doing more of pull marketing instead of just spreading the word out.
No, again, so that's where the dilemma is, right? So as I was giving the example a little before about the e-commerce situation, right? Now, when it comes to a mature market, right? When I say mature, I mean that in terms of search, number of searches done in India every day, right? So if you look at the kind of searches that are happening, say for, I don't know, buy headphones online, right? It would be probably in lakhs or probably in millions every day, right? But parallelly, when it comes to say buy healthy juices online, the search volume would be very low. And when I say very low, meaning that probably, I don't know, like 5,000 or 10,000 people might just be searching for it in India, right? So what that means is that your sample audience itself is very low. So this is what people normally don't understand, is that when it comes to pull versus push marketing, right? In pull marketing, you cannot increase the demand size. Right? Like if there are 10,000 people, you cannot make it 50,000. There will be 10,000, sadly, right? You can do a lot of brand awareness, is that your entire segment can do that, and probably it can be raised to 20,000.
In my case, through pull marketing, I can only reach out to people who are looking for
that
the kind of product that I'm making. And in case of push marketing, I can reach out to maybe people who are already satisfied with the kind of juices that they're drinking. But once I reach out to them, then it would plant the idea in their mind that I could go for this.
Exactly. So very simply put, for pull marketing, it would lead to your high intent audiences. Whereas with respect to push marketing, it would lead to new audiences, which would probably be a little relevant to your particular business, right?
But it's a much larger audience.
It's a much larger audience, but at the same time, what people fail to understand is that they just go to say something like Facebook, or they would use some display marketing, targeting, and blindly just target lakhs of people. Right? That doesn't work because people who are say above say 45 years old and who are like they have their own families and they are not really interested in spending so much on health drinks. Why will they buy your product?
That's where I think that targeting you talked about would come into play.
Right? So that's a little bit on the channel mix that we have, right? Now, so what I would like to tell all our guys here is that whenever you are making a digital marketing strategy, right? Or if you are making or if you're doing something with an agency or something in-house, be very, very sharp in terms of making sure that this plan is made, right? So ideally what looks really good is that if I say, okay, this is say a 3 lakh plan for you over 3 months, let's run a pilot campaign first to test out the different channels. So what we'll do is that we'll put 30 to 40,000 on Facebook, right? On Google, we'll go and check the search volume. I'll just do some math behind the screen and we'll probably get to know, okay, we can spend some 30-40,000 on Google. We spent like 30-40 on say Facebook, that's like 80K, right? And we probably try some experimental frugal marketing techniques like for example affiliates, right? On the rest 15-20, and that's like the 1 lakh spend. Now what this also does is that this gives me a good litmus test of how all the channels are working, right? But that doesn't mean you blindly do every channel, right? There should be some logic, right? So I think that's what is very important for everyone to understand. So and after that 1 lakh in the first month, then that the other 4 lakhs that are there, you can stagger it, right? It can be 1 lakh, then it could be say 1.5 lakhs in the second month, and then once you know it very nicely, in the third month you can scale it up to 2.5 lakhs to grow your revenue, right?
Makes sense.
So so one very important thing which people tend to miss out, and I think that is something that I think we were talking the other time, and you were telling me that I think someone of yours had spent a lot of money on Facebook initially.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Yeah, so he spent like 3 lakhs of money on Facebook. So he's
Okay.
also an entrepreneur,
Right.
but at the end it did not result into any revenue
Right.
at all.
Right.
And after that point, he was in a fix that how does he even spend money on digital marketing? Does
Right.
it even
Work?
does it even work or anything?
Right. So I think one thing which comes to my mind there, one issue could have been that probably he wasn't remarketing.
Okay, what is that?
Okay, so what I mean by remarketing here is that once say you get like say 2,000, 3,000 people to your site, right? And if you're say doing it on Facebook, 3,000 people at a cost per click of say 20 rupees would be around say 60,000 rupees, for example, right? Now 60,000 rupees you spent and you got 3,000 people, right? You might just get, I don't know, like at a conversion rate of say 1%, right? It would be probably 60 people, right?
Yeah.
So 60 people purchase your juice.
Yeah.
And you are like, hey man, that's like really poor because I do my calculation of my average order and it's like 6,000 bucks. What am I doing? I'm spending 1/10. What's the point? Right? But what most people fail to do is that they need to parallelly also remarket. Now, what is remarketing? Remarketing is a concept where the moment someone comes to your site, even if they are not submitting an email ID, right? There is a concept of a cookie.
Okay.
So it's basically like just like a piece of code which gets dropped into the browser, and that person is tagged. So say I come to the Raw Pressery site someday, right? And I'm like, I'm just browsing through the juices. I didn't even select anything. I came through your ad. Right.
Yeah.
Now over the next 7 days, you can actually remarket ads to me on Facebook. You can do it on Google, also on display. So those ads of
reach out to that guy
yes.
again and again.
So you can start following.
Yeah. So now the one person that came in the first go, now I'll remarket to the rest 99%.
Yes.
And out of those 99%, it could be possible that 4 or 5% again.
Yeah, exactly, right.
And that way, this whole thing becomes cost effective.
Exactly. And not just that, also you need to understand that even with digital marketing, it's not like a magic solution, right? See, if you're doing offline or if you're doing any other marketing channel, right, it takes time for the channel to get into an optimized state. The first few months, you need to spend a little money, probably burn a little money, but that's where the intelligence matters, that you need to target the right things, right? So I think that's a little on this entire channel planning. So if all of you guys are listening, just make sure that when you are actually having this discussion, either with your co-entrepreneurs or like someone with an agency or a freelancer or someone in-house, make sure that this channel planning is nicely defined to as much of an extent as possible, and then you start the campaigns, have a pilot campaign, and then you expand. So I think I spoke a lot about this channel and all of that. So if you want to, I'm sure you must be having some questions.
So one of the questions that I've always been struggling is like, what are all the channels out there, and how do I know which channel do I need to invest money in?
Right. So one thing is that it really depends on your business model and your business type.
Okay.
Right. So like Raw Pressery, say focusing just on like say hyper local or say local startups, right? It could be very different than say like a BFSI, a bank who's selling term insurance, right? That could be a very different business model, right? Versus say like, I don't know, something like say a real estate e-commerce or like a real estate business. Their funnel and their business model would be very different. So what I'm trying to say is that the kind of channels you would select would really depend on your funnel and your business model.
So let's say you were in my shoes. You also want to sell juices to 25 to 30-year-olds who are health conscious, who are living in metropolitan cities. So how would your thought process go about? Like how would you decide where to spend money, and how much money do you even spend?
Right. So I think what I'll do is that first I'll explore all the channels that are there, right? And so there would be a number of channels starting from say Facebook, it will be Google will have search, display, remarketing and strategy would be across both Facebook and Google. I would probably try some affiliate marketing, try some affiliate deals, right? I would probably go to some open exchanges and do some open display marketing. I would also try some email marketing, which could be a little more on the free of cost thing, right? So I would probably try this X number of channels, probably check out the targeting that is available, right? And then run a pilot and check it out. So
you really need to explore every channel and see what kind of options are available out there.
Got it.
So Another thing that I wanted to know was, so basically, since I just started the startup, right now it's just me and my co-founder. There's nobody who is actually running the marketing. We don't have a marketing team at all. So one problem that we constantly face is, let's say we have a very small budget. If we want to run a campaign of 50,000 or 1 lakh, so there's no agency who actually wants to do our job. They would be like that, okay, if you're willing to spend above this much money, then we might help you. But we don't take these small projects. So how do I get around that?
Right. I think what tends to happen is, like most entrepreneurs normally go to Google and search for these agencies, and probably the top in India probably come on the search listings, right? And they are the ones who are basically taking clients which are like LCS or large client segments, right? As Google likes to segment it, which is nothing less than 3 to 4 lakhs a month, right? Yeah. But on the other hand, if you actually do some nice, like if you probably deep dive into some searching and go to Google and probably check out who are, like also doing small and medium businesses, which is like somewhere between say 50,000 to a lakh or less than 50,000, right? You would definitely find some agencies, they might not be that robust and big, and they might not probably give you that much of hand holding that they would probably give a big client, right? But that's where your onus on digital marketing also comes about. And I know what I normally advise is initially probably have someone in your team, right? Give him some ownership on this particular marketing spend. Let him also research, let him also learn something, probably take up a certification program, right? And also parallelly, try out these experiments, right? And probably not just blindfoldedly focus on an agency, because at the end of the day, they'll just like probably burn a lot of your money and come back after 3 months and say, nothing happened. Probably that will never happen, but like hopefully.
No, exactly that. That was also one of my key concerns, because I don't know anything about marketing. So if I just tell them that, okay, I want to have these business goals met, and those people just invest my money, and like few months later they said that it was not working. So how do I even know they put in an honest effort?
Exactly, right. So I think that's where someone like either you or someone on your team who's probably managing the marketing part should have this channel level understanding, because at the end of you need to learn, because at the end of the day it's your money which is getting spent, right? So okay, let me be very open-ended about one thing. We started this entire conversation and we only spoke about paid channels, right? A lot of you might be thinking, oh, so what about social media? What about SEO? What about content marketing? What about email marketing? So all of that is like the free segment, right? Where you definitely invest resources and efforts, but you don't really invest the dollar, right? But what happens parallelly is that, say, email is probably one segment which is, unless you have that email base, you really can't market it to them, right? But when it comes to social content, SEO, getting proper revenues is very difficult, because it's not a magic trick. Like, okay, I do SEO for a month, I'm getting X amount of revenue from there. It's a much longer process than paid marketing. Paid marketing will get you relatively much quicker results, right? And if you want to lift off initially, you would definitely need paid marketing. As you do paid marketing from say the first quarter and you move to the second, you might want to start creating certain pages which would be a little SEO heavy. You would want to create some content rich like stuff, which I think Raw Presser is also doing. So guys, you should check them out definitely. And and that's how your organic effort should increase. But that should not be a situation where you say, oh, I did these 5 blogs this month, so I should expect, like, I don't know, like 10, like 100 bottles sold of 200 bottles sold. It doesn't make sense like that. You need to have very targeted campaigns, right? And when it comes to these organic or free ones, right, they are a little more complex, a little long. But don't let me like demotivate you, right? It's something that is for the long term, right? It's like renting a house versus actually buying a house. So you can imagine like paid marketing as like renting a place, right? But when it comes to owned marketing, like say SEO, social presence, influencership building, etc.
So that is that permanent thing.
Yeah, it's a permanent thing. Once you do it, like once you've established that, once you have that X amount of traffic, you will be set there.
Okay, so you don't have to keep spending money on it.
No. So you need to ideally do both, but the proportion at which you want to do really is defined by how quickly you want to grow.
Yeah, which actually brings me to another question that I wanted to ask you. So there's this entrepreneur friend of mine who has done a fair bit of marketing. Okay, so he initially was investing money on Facebook and Google. That was not working. Then he changed the creative. Then he changed the targeting.
Okay.
And after a point of time, he was able to get a good enough cost of customer acquisition. So he was able to acquire customers for some amount of money. But after a point, the challenge for him is that he always has to spend like this X amount of money to get one customer. So how does he go from there? I mean,
Okay, so I really think that that's something which is a more of an advanced topic, right? So we can probably take that up in another session. But just to give it on a top line, the top line would be to probably look at scale versus CAC, okay, or like the scale at which you can get in a channel, right? So if his current channels are really exhausted or maxed out, he needs to then look for alternative channels, which might be a little more expensive initially, right? But he needs to then explore. He needs to probably check out influencers. He needs to check out, say, something like affiliates. He needs to probably check out open exchanges, open display marketing, right? So if you explore channels and then test out with experiments, I think that will work a lot, right?
Okay, so I have one more question.
Okay.
So I see a lot of a lot of startups have this loyal following on social media. So they essentially have like a community of users who want to use their services. But if I just keep on running paid ads, so how do I even get to building that community? Or should I be doing something else so that I have these group of people who want to use my product over and over?
That's a very interesting question. So the answer to that is there are multiple ways in which you can build this, right? So just to break it out to you guys, you can actually buy Facebook likes as well. And what I mean by buy is that you can literally spend sponsored promotions for liking your page on Facebook, right? Like what you can do is that on LinkedIn and Twitter, you can build your followership, right? So, but what is more important is you need to understand that if you are putting X amount of effort, you can do it two ways. Either you say do a lot of post promotion, or you can have say raw pressery going full-fledged healthy for a month. And probably take some 10 10 health bloggers and do an event with them. Okay. So all of these marketing activities would generate some content. That kind of content is something which you can proliferate on social networks, which can then create that network effect and get you organic traffic. Parallelly, you can do say paid campaigns like sponsorships, like sponsored ads to like your page. But you can do all of this, right? If you do all of this, obviously there is some X amount of effort which is also there. You can understand this, right? Reaching out to them, probably some influencers might charge you some money, etc. Right? But I think the bigger picture you need to understand here is, or you need to ask yourself is that when should you do that, right? Probably after you have done some of these frugal techniques and you have some customer base already, right? Which will probably justify your spends as well on social, right? All these efforts. And secondly, I think you need to then ask or probably run some pilot campaigns there. I'm a big fan of pilot campaigns. You should run some pilot campaigns there, thinking that if I have say 2,000 or 3,000 users, right? Followers, say for example, what is that translating to, right? If it is just brand awareness on top of the funnel, then that's great. But if you are looking at, hey, how many of those people are actually coming back? Like for example, if you have like say 20,000 people following you as raw pressery on LinkedIn, I don't think that's a big like insight for you. Versus say if you have say 10,000 people who are liking your page on Facebook, and then you can even remarket ads to them, because that's another interesting thing you could do. So there are these lot of different reasons why you should build your your page up and have more followers, induce conversations, etc. Right? But at the end of the day, I think you should really not think that okay, immediate revenue. It's more of a brand building top of the funnel exercise, and some of them might go to your website. You have to track all of that. How many people are coming from Facebook, etc. Are they even buying, or are they telling their friends what's happening? Right? So it's a little complex network, but not that complex that it should leave it.
It is very complex. I mean, through this half hour of conversation, there's so many things that I got to know that I need to implement. I mean, I need to do influencer campaign. I need to do better targeting on Facebook. I need to have better creators on Facebook. Remarketing. There was this remarketing. Then there was this whole concept of push versus pull. So I feel that there are tons of things that you need to learn before you can, really get your marketing for your business started. So so that was really insightful. So guys, so this really brings us to the end of this discussion. So I hope this discussion, simulated some thoughts about how you can implement marketing at your business. So if you have any questions about, how marketing for your business is going, you can just simply post them in the live chat to your right, and Neil would then take them up after I've done, introducing the program. So now I would like to introduce the program that Upgrad has made for marketing, and this program is focused towards entrepreneurs and business owners who want to connect to their customers digitally. So there'll be two sets of people that this program is ideal for. So I mean, first would be business owners. So it would be someone who has, let's say he has been doing his business for 10 or 20 years, but now he realizes he cannot, rely on the traditional ways of marketing his business. Now he can reach out to even more customers on digital, and that is, the thing that he needs to do going forward. And second is entrepreneurs. So these would be people who are doing, digital first businesses. So like Raw Pressery, all of these businesses are mostly digital. Any of the startups that you pick up, so it would rarely be the case that they, do marketing traditionally. Most of the marketing needs to happen on digital platform because customers are spending more and more time on digital platforms. So with that in mind, I would just like to introduce what this program is all about. So this program is a 5 months program where you would need to spend like 6 to 7 hours every week. And this number of hours you can spend based on your work schedule. So how it essentially works is that you go through some recorded lectures from Monday to Friday, and then on the weekend you attempt all the case studies and all the assignments, and you also have live doubt clearing sessions with teaching assistants from Upgrad. And by the Sunday midnight you submit all the deadlines. So it's very compatible to, for any working professional, it's very convenient for to do this program. And what this program actually entails, it actually entails like end-to-end marketing. So we would start with the very basics of marketing. We would start with what exactly is marketing, what exactly is a brand, how do you set up your own brand in the market, and so on and so forth. So once we have touched down about upon the business principles of what marketing and branding is, next we deep dive into digital marketing. And I mean, digital marketing, as you got from our conversation, is not just about putting a Facebook ad, not just about putting a Google ad, but there are tons of different channels you can advertise your business on, and each channel has multiple level of nuances. I mean, a Facebook ad is not just creating a creative and posting it online. You also have to get the targeting right so that you're not wasting money on people who are not even going to be your customers one day. And I mean, Facebook also is a good source for building a community of people who are enthusiastic about your brand, and who would engage with your brand, who would recommend your brand, and who would get even more customers for you. So this then we would deep dive into all of these digital marketing channels. We would start with search engine marketing, where we would get into how you can create a website, and how you can firstly create a website, and secondly how can you ensure that it ranks very high in the search rankings, so that when people search for let's say juices in case of Raw Pressery, they actually come up to Raw Pressery's website and not your competitor's website. Then we get into search engine marketing and display ads, where you learn how to post display ad and what are the nuances of that. And then you get into all of these different channels. For example, Facebook marketing, you get into remarketing, and so on and so forth. And once we have done with all of these channels, now comes the most interesting part. And the part that you guys would be most interested in is, how do you actually define a digital marketing strategy? How do you decide which channel do you need to spend money on, and how much money do you need to spend on? How do you actually decide how to use email marketing? So all of these questions would be answered within the program. And just as a side note about who would be teaching the program, because that is another great question that must be lingering in your minds. So this program will be taught from people who have like decades of experience, running marketing campaigns. So it includes like somebody like Sakhi Dheer, who is the head of marketing for Facebook Asia Pacific. Somebody like Apur Chamaria, who is head of marketing at HCL Technologies. Somebody like Jaydeep Prabhu, who is a professor of marketing at Cambridge University. So these are all very experienced folks, and they have come together to design this curriculum and deliver all these lectures. So we would shortly after this webinar, we would also send across a link to the program, and the next batch of this program is launching in March, in the mid of March. So just go check out the program, just go through the demo link, just see what the learning experience is all about. And if you find that this is something that you're really interested in and this can really help your business, then you can get in touch with us, and then we can help you decide whether this program is for you or not.
Vaibhav, quick thing. So, like, I think one very important thing which I like about our program, apart from all of this, is also the case studies.
Yeah.
Right. I think like, and that's something, which I've been like, so over the last 5 to 6 months, I've been talking to more than some 80, 90 entrepreneurs. And what I ended up, discussing with them, I realized is so nicely covered in the program is the case studies. Like,
Yeah.
especially say case studies like in Thomas Cook, where, they had to create a microsite.
Yeah.
Or for, like Star Sports, the Mocha Mocha campaign.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
On social media. So,
yeah.
Those were like
So guys,
awesome.
what we have done also within this program is that, let's say if you're learning about social media marketing, so you wouldn't just learn from lectures, because at the end of the day, you need to understand how that applies into the industry. So for that purpose, what we have done is that we have created 15 different case studies with 15 different leading digital brands. So for example, when you're learning about social media marketing, you would just go through firstly the lectures, you would go through all the assignments, and then you would learn how how Grofers used its social media strategy in order to reach out to customers who were, let's say, speaking in Hindi or in other vernacular language. You would also learn how Star Sports popularized the Cricket World Cup through their Mocha Mocha campaign, how they really took it to Twitter, to Facebook, through all of these social media outlets, and how did they use all of them effectively. So these case studies would actually give you a flavor how marketing differs from business to business. We also have covered a couple of startups. So one of the startups that we're covering is Momo, which is a mobile payment startup, which was recently also acquired by ShopClues for $15 million. So there we would focus on how did they initially start working on their marketing strategy, and how did they finally achieve their initial set of customers. So yeah, so these case studies would also be very insightful for you to really understand how marketing actually works.
Interesting. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
cool. So
that was my bit about the program. After this, we'll send you the link. You can check out the program. If you have any questions about this, you can just get in touch with us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to address questions that you guys have posted in the live chat. So if some of you guys have not posted any questions yet, now is the time. Yes. These questions can be around anything. These questions can be about your business, the marketing challenges that you're facing, or it could also be about Upgrad Digital Marketing Program, and if you want to know anything more about that. So we'll just get started with our first question.
Awesome.
So the first question is from Rahul Dayal.
Okay.
So he said that he's running his facility management business, but from next month he's going to start a new startup, which would be a takeaway restaurant in Kolkata. So how can he use digital marketing to reach his business goal?
Wow. So I think Rahul, a takeaway restaurant in Calcutta, Kolkata. Sorry.
You're also from Kolkata.
Yeah. So a takeaway restaurant from Kolkata would be I think the business model would definitely be a digital first model, right? Because if it's a takeaway, then I think you should definitely look at aggregator partnerships, right? I'm sure some versions of Foodpanda, Swiggy, etc. are also in Kolkata, right? Apart from that, I think you should definitely have your website and checkout module, right, or the website thing in place, right? You can actually look at some of these e-commerce shopping platforms like Shopify, Magento, etc. Or you can actually go to one of these agencies who will set up this entire e-commerce takeaway platform for you with the payment integration, etc. I'm sure you're doing your research on that. But once you have done that and once it's all set, I think you should definitely look at both Google search as well as look at Facebook, right, as two channels to actually set up marketing on some initial pilot campaigns, as I spoke about. Spend a little bit of money and see how it's how it's affecting your orders, right? Because you can track all of that on Facebook. It gives you all the analytics. You can track all of it on Google AdWords. It gives you all the analytics as well. And I think once you have done a bit of those two, also explore some affiliate options, right? So these affiliates are nothing but they'll basically work on a rev share model, right, or revenue share model, where they'll probably charge some 15 to 20% of every order. And I think initially you'll be probably running some discounts, etc. as well, right? So you can probably run some affiliates as well. So probably think about these channels a bit, right? And I think definitely you should explore digital marketing in detail, because it will really help you in your takeaway business.
Great. Yeah. So next question that we have is from Prateek Agarwal. So he's asking, when he has to hire somebody in the marketing function. So should he go for a guy who already has a management degree? So how should he take that decision? Like, what are the kind of things that you would look for if you were, a co-founder and you wanted to hire somebody in the marketing team?
Right. So here, I need to be very clear whether it's marketing or whether it's digital marketing. So I'll address both. If it's marketing, then someone who's from a management background, or has done an MBA, right? It would help definitely. Why? Because he's been under that stress a little already. Obviously, depends from which college he's from. It also depends. It also means that he's already been making sure that getting work done from people or in groups, right?
Yeah.
So that entire part of getting work done, etc., ensuring that or understanding the value of business or money is already ingrained. So for a marketing function or manager's function, I think definitely. But from a digital side, sadly, right now at this point, in most MBAs, digital is not taught as a central function as such, right? So it might happen that someone is from an MBA but might not know anything about digital marketing at all, except for the names like SEO, SEM, etc. Right? Yeah. So I think if he's really wanting to, Prateek, right?
Yeah. Prateek.
So if Prateek wants to focus on someone from digital, right, or probably hire a digital marketing executive, you should probably look at someone who's already been doing digital marketing for a few years, right? Or if it's a fresher, if he has some certification or some degree, right, in digital, it would help. But a general management degree probably wouldn't. But I would advise you to probably go for someone who already has some experience in digital, right? Because he would then know the platform and then be better and quicker at spending the money or doing the efforts in the right way.
Yeah, this guy would have applied digital marketing wherever he had worked in the past. He would know what are the common mistakes that digital marketers
That's very important, right?
And that is not something that this guy would want to repeat again and again. So he has another question, and this is like the golden question that all entrepreneurs are asking. So he's asking, how can he himself manage all of these marketing things, like SEO, SEM?
Okay, interesting. So see, I'll be very honest with all of you. I think if you really want to manage everything by yourself, first of all, you need a very deep understanding of how these channels work. Okay. That does not necessarily mean that you should know the ins and outs of how to run the campaigns, executing campaign launch here, optimize here, etc. That might not be the requirement. But if you really want to, even if you want to manage it, right, under someone being under you who's doing the execution, right, and someone else doing the strategy part of it, right, then it's I think you still need to know digital. Definitely at a strategy level, but if you are wanting to do it by yourself end to end, then I think you definitely need to know how to run campaigns, right, or probably spend some money post. So you should definitely then take up either a certification or a program or any course, right, which will tell you how to actually apply all of this in your business, and post that probably test it out with some actual real money, right, and then I think you should start doing this. Because if you just read stuff online and then do XYZ things, because that's what I've seen most entrepreneurs do.
Yeah.
They just try some XYZ things and imagine that, okay, it's going to work out automatically, right? But I think if you have been hearing us for the first 30 minutes, I think you got a clear picture on, it's not really that simple. And you need to, most importantly, understand these channels and how they work. Right? If you don't do that and just run campaigns, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you could just read up something on the web for 1 hour. You'll have a couple of ideas. Then you would invest money in those ideas and then realize these are not going to work. So unless and until you have a whole structured approach that, okay, these are the different channels, these are things that are possible in digital, then you can really take an intelligent decision where to spend money on.
And then you can also take a decision on that marketing mix I said, right? You need to know the entire channel set. You need to know how all of this could then fit into your business. Then you can probably come up with strategies saying, okay, let me try this first because this looks like a low-hanging fruit. And then let me go for some other, something else when I want to scale. Right? So those tactical decisions can only come when you have actually run through that thought process. Right? And for that, I think, you need to definitely probably take up a certification or a program. Right?
Got it. So the next question that we have is from Shiv, and this is a little specific question. So he has recently launched a car service app.
Okay.
So he was doing some Google ads and some branding through Facebook. So in 4 months, he has been able to get 200 people registered for his app. So I think he's referring that these 200 people downloaded the app, made an account on his app, and how do they really identify affiliates for his business? So who would be the affiliates in a car servicing app?
In a car servicing app, right? Okay, so if it's a car servicing app, affiliates, a little difficult question right now, right? I think you need to explore certain alternate segments, probably not people because see, at the top of my mind, I don't think there are any affiliate networks which are specially for the auto industry, right? Who are like saying, okay, we have all the XYZ people who who purchase cars from us, and this is the list. We'll sell your app to them as well on 200 rupees a click, right? Sadly, that does not really happen, right? But I think you should look at not just downloads but also retention. So I think you should run your app download campaigns a bit more across channels, probably run them in app. This is more of a detailed and deep dive conversation. So I'm probably not sure if everyone will get it. So Shiv, if you have really a deep dive, interesting situation, then do ping us, post this hangout, and I can definitely help you out on how this in-app situation can work out with you, because affiliates in many cases might work out, but only in terms of downloads. But then you'll see that these downloads are really damn expensive, and then you'll be like, okay, I'm just getting downloads, I'm not even getting a retention, right? So Shiv, I'm pretty sure that you still haven't reached that situation where you have say 2,000 downloads but only 20 people using the app, right? So, but that on another different note, we'll talk in detail about that once we get a chance, right? Next.
So next question is from Ace, and this is again a very common question that people get asked from entrepreneurs. So this is that how can he do digital marketing when he's low on funding? So he does not have enough funds to just put aside for marketing. So he really needs to get value for every dollar that he's spending.
Right. So I think just like any other forms of marketing, right? If you're thinking that you can do all of it without spending anything, then I think that's a unicorn situation. Like it really doesn't exist, right? I would like to tell all of you upfront, right? Digital is probably a cheaper alternative than say something like a TVC or outdoor upfront. But even with digital, it's a channel which needs some investments, right? So if you are, so it basically depends on your entire funnel, right? So if you have say like, has Shiv mentioned what sorry, Ace or whoever it is, has he mentioned what
kind of business?
No? Okay, cool. So if say you are selling a product for say $1,000, right? And if initially every customer that you're acquiring is say you're getting it at 5,000 rupees, right? So that's a negative altogether, right? But then you need to probably understand that okay, your product is something that people really don't have that kind of intent in the market, like I mentioned, right? So it will take some time for you to build that up. But if you are not having some minimum threshold of spends, right, like at least 20 to 30,000 to even test and start off in the market, then you really can't like think about it, right? Unless there is a situation where you don't want to spend anything at all, and you probably want to become an influencer, right? So let me put it this way, right? Say I don't know, like say you want to sell health drinks or something similar, right? And if you say open a website or a blog, and write very interesting articles, curate the right information, right? And all of that, and then say you organically get a lot of traffic because you're writing amazing content, and then probably you want to sell your products on that. You can do that, right? In the US, a lot of people have been doing this in the last 5 to 6 years, and they have had business in millions, right? But again, to do that, if you think about it properly, you're still investing a lot of your time, efforts in research, and probably on some tools as well. So you really can't run out of investments, whether it be through money or without. But in most cases, if it's not like not using paid marketing upfront, then your growth rate will be not that asymptotic, right? It will be much more linear, right? And then you'll have to accept that and move on.
So he really needs to spend money on all of the campaigns to at least get a sense what channels would work.
At least, right? Because otherwise you're like thinking, okay, then wait for probably 6 to 8 or 9 months, right, to achieve that same kind of influence, right? But at the same time, if you're working on a business which people really haven't heard of, right? If it's, I don't know if it's a consulting or a product, but you really need to build that depth and that intent. Sorry, build that intent towards people. Otherwise, no one is going to discover your product or even buy it, right? No, so that investment is required, either be it through an influencer, right, who is in your domain, who you will probably still have to pay money in most cases, right? Or you do it yourself, right? But if you do it through organic means, as I mentioned before, it will take some decent amount of time.
Yeah, so organic takes a lot of time. Even if you do like content marketing really well, so
it'll take you a few quarters to even lift off, right?
So, and even then you would have to run paid ads so that people discover your blog.
Exactly.
They're not going to land up all by themselves.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Next.
So the next question that we have is again from Pratik Agarwal. So he says that, can you help us with some name of programs through which he can know how to do digital marketing?
Okay.
Would you like to take that up?
Yeah. So like, I think, see, it really depends on what you really want to learn, right? So there are a lot of programs online, right? And I think the top ones right now in the market are like ourselves, Upgrad, right? We have other programs like Simply Learn, we have Digital Vidya, we have a few more, you can check them out online. But I feel that what is most important, you should check out is how much of a value add are they giving you, and how much of business scenarios are they really teaching? Because I'll be very honest with you, Vaibhav, like I have really done some hardcore research on all of our competitors, and what I really found was that industry connect is really lacking in most cases. So right, so like for example, here the kind of depth we go to when we are actually solving a case study. Right, so I remember, like, I think when it came to Grofers, right, you guys actually went to Grofers, shot the case study, spoke to them, like, got all the data out, and all of that data driven is what the case study is about. So I think that's something, those are the kind of depth that you should look out in a program.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. I mean, that is one of the USPs of our program, that everything that you do within the program goes much beyond just lectures. I mean, there's a lot of application that is involved, and it's only through application that you actually learn digital marketing. I mean, digital marketing is not something that you can just memorize, or not something that you can just understand conceptually. It only comes perfectly when you have actually applied it.
True.
Okay, cool.
Anything else?
Yeah, so do we have any more questions? Okay, so guys, these are all the questions that we have received from you up till now. So so thanks a lot for coming. I hope this session was as insightful for you as it for us. And so we'll see you in the next session. Thank you.
Bye.